Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. And it's a great day to have a great day. And I thank you so much for being here today. And if you're watching remotely in the future, whenever, thank you. All the gratitude in the world. And today we have another pirate in the room. Brian, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Good to be with you. I had to throw in one pirate.
Always. You know, we have a common thread in our lives. And I think if you talk to someone long enough, you'll always find a common thread. However, ours is very evident in the kindness field. And you've been speaking, living, coaching and breaking people away from their mundane lives and looking at kindness in a new and unique way. So how did you evolve into becoming a speaker and a breakthrough coach and somebody that does these things on a regular basis with people? Talk about your backstory and how you woke up and said, I'm going to be a coach today.
Well, Russ, I think it starts with, I've always loved people. I believe that we have more in us than we think, that there are no overachievers. And so, that kind of developed as a young guy. And I've had three really neat careers, all moving in the same direction. And the first was I was a United States swimming coach. And so I was working with young people, and you don't really coach swimming, Russ, you coach people.
Yeah.
You coach their hearts, you coach their spirits, you try to help them build faith and confidence in themselves. So I loved it. I had a great run. My team became this gigantic team, but I had no life. It was so encompassing that kind of the second stage in life was, I'm probably the only guy who went to graduate school to get a life instead of a job. And and I really did. I ended up my wife and I found each other at that time. And my second career was in the corporate world. And what I found was that what I still loved was bringing out the best in people, both individually and as teams. And then I had a very neat rapid rise in that field. And our company was like so many parts of the world. We were siloed. We were separated. Operations couldn't stand sales. Sales couldn't stand operations. They both hated the home office just a little bit more. And so that made no sense to me, because I realized that sales doesn't want to do operations. Operations doesn't want to do sales, and neither one of them wants to do the home office. So we're all fulfilling this real blessing to each other. So I started doing team building programs. I was the number 2 guy in my company. I was the vice president, and the president was a real out of the box thinker. Mm-hmm. And I said, we were struggling as a company. We're a pretty large company. And I said, it's not the market, it's us. It's the way that we don't support each other. It's this siloing. It's a separation. Yeah. And I convinced him to let me go out and teach these team building seminars. And we had an enormous turnaround. I mean, it was so much fun. We did so great. And right at the peak of it, I said to my wife, who is a very adventurous soul, she's a good pirate. I said, Carol, we're doing great. Let's quit. I want to go do this. And that was 31 years ago. And so since that time, I've been out as a speaker, written 15 books, doing what I know I was put on earth to do. I love every second of it. So it's really just building that sense that we're all teachers, we're all coaches, and to help people and organizations recognize that you have choices. Let's make good ones.
Well, it's something that I say on a regular basis here, and I put it in my profile. It's everyone has a gift, a message, and it's an opportunity to actually share something with the world that you were meant to do. And it's tragic when it goes uninitiated and unresolved, because so many people don't have that. They hesitate, they wait, and it's almost like they're waiting for permission to do something with their voice. And right now we are living in an amazing time where we can actually get on a conference. You're in North Carolina, I'm in Arizona, and we're talking like we were next door across the coffee shop table and having this conversation about real world stuff. And culture in a company can make the huge difference in what the outcomes are. Being able to work together to solve a problem rather than point a finger and cause a blame. It's really important for us to understand that we all have a choice and we all have an opportunity to make a better choice in the future. So
Absolutely.
thanks for doing the work, man.
I like to say to people, when you think about it, there's only one thing we don't have a choice about, and maybe we do with that, and that's dying. Everything else is a matter of choice. Now, choices have consequences, but another way for consequences is learning. Is that as we make choices, we need to pay attention. Is it working? Is it working for everyone? And then adjust our course. And so my work has really been about helping people understand that joy comes, kindness comes, relationship comes when we focus on controlling our controllables. And it's really three controllables. I've spent 45 years developing this focus. The first is to shape our future. If you don't shape your own future, somebody else is going to do it for you. And that's when you get to what you talked about, feeling unfulfilled, feeling like, why didn't I? The should-haves instead of taking those actions. So shaping your future is about creating a vision. That's the first controllable. And a lot of people think, oh, I don't have that choice. You do have that choice. The second is to energize and engage your team. Everything in human performance comes back to energy. To everyone we touch, our energy is our example. In this show,
and we only have so much, right?
But it's our choice. We have our choice. People will watch this show and they won't remember that much of what we say, but they'll get our energy. They get your kind energy. Just the minute they see your face, they'll get your genuine passion to help people. And that's what stays with us. So learning that we can make choices to elevate our level of energy, simple choices that make it a controllable. And the third controllable that we focus on is to build people, build teams, and build relationships. No matter what you do, you're in the people business. It's the relationships you build. It's the way you grow and help others grow that will determine your life.
I want to dive in and dig a little deeper on the first one. Creating a vision, creating an outcome, creating an idea about what the future needs to be. And I've had an interesting circumstance where I thought I wanted to be, and maybe you can relate to this based on when you quit when you were ahead in the corporate world, is that I got to a place where I thought I wanted to be. And it wasn't until years later that I look back and I say, wow, it was killing me. I was chasing the dream, but the dream became the nightmare. And so the vision that I had of the life that I wanted, and I wanted for my family and the people around me, wasn't exactly fulfilling. And it wasn't the result that I had anticipated. And it was a lot more, I had to invest a lot more for the equity that I was getting out of it, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And so I want you to coach me for a minute in the audience and the people in the room here to think about how we craft our vision to bring kindness and joy and some culture into our lives, our own circle of influence, and how we can frame that in a more positive way that allows us to be responsible for our actions and also take initiative to decide, okay, is this really what I need? Is this what I want in my life? And how does that make me feel?
Great. Well, beautiful question. And there's really two foundational principles about shaping your future. The first, I have a 4-year-old grandson. His name is Augie. And he's the coolest guy ever. And we were just with him and my little granddaughter who turned 2 just a few days ago, this past weekend. We brought him a 2-wheeler bike. The first, he's so good on his tricycle. He's like a little maniac. Well, we know what's going to happen. We waited because mom and dad had gone away for the weekend and we were watching them, and we didn't want to take away the joy of that first real ride on that 2-wheeler. But so he gets on that 2-wheeler. First time, mom and dad are pushing him from behind. He puts his hands on those handlebars. All right, he sticks his tongue out for balance. He's and he's wobbling and he's shaking, but he's pedaling. He's doing it. Mom and dad let go of him and he starts riding and he's doing it. He's riding that bike. Unfortunately, right in front of him on the sidewalk is a great big rock. What does Augie look at?
The rock.
What happens? Wham! He hits that rock. He falls over. He scrapes up his elbow. He goes by his mom and goes by his dad, says, "I'm cool." Goes to his mom, goes, "I'm gonna die." All right. So now, 2 weeks later, same little guy, same little Augie, same bike. Doesn't need his tongue out anymore because he's got this bike riding thing down. Boppity boppity bop down the same sidewalk. Bigger rock. What happens now? He goes around it.
He goes around it.
Goes around it first.
Yeah.
His vision, his eyes. The bike doesn't go around it. His vision goes around it. In other words, what he has taught us is that foundational principle that gives us choice in our vision, which is what you focus on is what you create. Yeah. Right? What you focus on is what you create. You create the breakthrough or you create the breakup. And so the starting place is to recognize, once we understand that what we focus on is what we create, here's a huge question. What are you focusing on?
Yeah.
How many of us focus more on the rock than the way around it? How many of us focus more on what we don't want than what we do want? So as you start to develop that understanding that what I focus on is what I create, what you resist persists. If you're focusing on the rock, you're going to get more rock. Yeah. And we're not imperfect. We're human. So what we want to start to do is catch ourselves when we're looking at the rock, or more importantly, focusing on the result instead of what we put in to get to the result. That's
so when you focus on the fear, you get more fear.
Absolutely. I mean, it really comes down to it. Every choice is a choice between fear or love and faith. And every time you choose a fear, you know it immediately. It weighs you down.
The reason I wanted to bring this up is because so many people get stuck, even with video, getting on video, I think, is the most powerful tool you can use to actually see the person, relate to the individual, and have a conversation that is meaningful, right? That's just my premise. That's my automatic go-to. And, short of being in person, face to face, toe to toe, the outcome, though, of the fear of getting on camera and having it on video and everything else holds a lot of people back. And if you focus on the fear, you're going to always continue to have fear. If you just jump in and do it and you find out, oh, that wasn't so bad.
Exactly.
It's like jumping into the pool for the first time, there's this idea that, okay, will I be able to float? Will I be able to make it? And the answer is yes, you will make it.
As soon as you shift your vision from the fear to the faith, or the fear to the love, as you want to, how you want to talk. In my speaking for the last 30 years, I'm known as America's Breakthrough Coach because I've had about 750,000 people break boards karate style in my event. And it's the coolest metaphor, Russ, there is but it's real, because you don't know you can do it until you do it. And the real secret to breaking through that board, and we had the metaphor of meaning. So people write on the board something they want to break through: procrastination, fear of failure, fear of public speaking, fear of being on video. And on the other side of the board, they write down and they get to envision what's waiting for me when I have broken through. What am I going to do, be, feel, create, have in my life? Because no longer am I focusing on the fear. But the real secret it has nothing to do with how strong you are, has nothing to do with has everything to do with what you focus on. If you focus on the board, you get the board. You go, whoa, that's a piece of wood. You focus beyond the board into your holder's eyes, and it's like it's not even there. And that's such a beautiful metaphor of our lives, is that how often we get drawn to the fear. And so the key to shaping your future is first understand what you focus on is what you create. So if you're focused on the fear, shift it. Focus to the other side of the board. The second is to stop using your memory to see. I often ask, I think I did this in the presentation, where I ask audiences, what color is a yield sign? Everybody right now, what color is a yield sign? And I've spoken 1,800 times around the world. Every audience says yellow, and they're red and white. And it's because we've been conditioned to think that roadsides are yellow signs. Well, where does that matter? What does it matter to you and I? People. Change the way you look at people. The people you look at change. Change the way you see yourself. The self you see will change. That's how you begin to shape your future, because every second we have the opportunity to learn something new, to grow and no longer see the world exactly the way we used to, unless we lock into using our memory to see.
Well, and so many of us, go through life at some point in time when we realize that the only thing we measure our results are from our past. And when that takes place, you're not focusing on the future. You're not focusing on a new result, a new outcome, which is exactly what we need to focus on.
I would take it to the place where what we really need to focus on is what we put in to get to those results. If we in other words, that's what we focus. When we focus on what we put in, we're being fully present. And present leads to the future we want. The present will get us to that result. My mentor was the man who wrote the foreword to my very first book was John Wooden. And John Wooden was the greatest coach of all time. But in 27 years of coaching UCLA basketball to 10 national championships, nobody's even come close. Not once did he ever say the words winning or losing to his players. He didn't use the words. Did he want to win? Oh, yeah. But what he wanted them to focus on what they did to create that result rather than the result itself. In other words, focus on your effort, your energy, your attitude, your team feeling. And he used to wink at you and say, you do that, you're going to come out just fine. And so that's when we talk about controlling our controllables, because we don't necessarily control the result. We control our effort, our energy, our actions, our faith, our belief in moving to the result. And it gives us a chance to get there.
And also our response to what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And to be able to recognize that it's not failure, it's great information that I can shift. That's where it gets so important on vision to adjust.
I love that.
If we hold the steering wheel of our car and we lock it in, we're going in the ditch.
Yeah.
We've got to adjust that. We've got to adjust ourselves constantly, pay attention to stimuli. And that's what the beauty of looking at what you put in. When you come from a definition of success that says success is peace of mind. Yeah. And it comes from knowing we've given the best of which we're capable. Then when something doesn't go right, it's not, oh my, oh terrible, oh woe is me. It's, wow, now I know more than I did before, and I can adjust that course and stay out of the ditch.
Yeah. And adjust along the way. I want to give a shout out to some of the individuals that are joining us here today. So Darren Birch, he's a podcaster. He's an amazing individual here in Arizona. Good morning, Russ and fellow pirates. Thank you so much for being here. Tracy, the producer of the show, she's here. Good morning, pirates. Thank you so much, Tracy. Love you. And Donna Dunn, that is funny. We were talking earlier. So she was saying, Darren was saying, playing sports teaches so many great life lessons, not the least of which is teamwork. So that's a great statement. Donna says, so true. You really need to listen to that message and share it. We're going to continue to share the message, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Brian, we're going to continue to share the message of kindness. Very true, Brian and Russ. Very valid points on choice. He says also adjust the course as you make choices, shape your future. If you don't, someone else will. Energize and engage your team and those around you.
What a student, Russ. What a student. My God.
Yes.
You got an A+, man.
Great energy, Brian. I love it.
Thank you, Russ.
I just love the individuals here that are coming into the pirate community. I love this. Controlling our controllables, but also response to what happens. Brian Brio and Russ Johns. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I thought yellow.
Of course. Don't feel bad. 1,800 audiences, Donna. They've all said yellow. Now, here's something that's really important to understand is that I actually did my program when my daughters are now, grown-ups, but I did it when they were in high school. They have never, we switched to red and white yield signs 45 years ago. They've never seen anything but red and white yield signs. And I asked their high school class, what color is a yield sign? They said yellow. And the reason is it's not just our memory that we use to see, it's more importantly, it's our conditioning.
Yeah.
And so most of the other road signs are yellow and black. So we stop using our vision to see. And when we open our eyes to that possibility, what happens is incredible new awareness and alertness. I tell the story of when my daughter went away to college. We missed her so much. But when she came home for the first time for Thanksgiving holiday, I finally realized how long I've been looking at her like she was an old yellow yield sign. Even though
Yeah.
I love her completely, I've been looking at her for years like she's still my 10-year-old little girl. Hey,
Yeah.
she'd been driving her own car for 2.5 years. She walked in our door that Thanksgiving, a smile the size of North Carolina, immediately announced to her mom and I that she'd already applied for, already been accepted to go to a very special service program in Ghana, in Africa.
Wow.
Because Kelsey, like you, Russ, wants to make the world better.
Yeah.
And I looked at my daughter that day, maybe for the very first time. And I finally realized that every time I looked at her as if she were an old yellow yield sign, what happened to our relationship?
Yeah.
It went backwards until I looked at the beauty, the courage, the wisdom, the powerful, incredible young woman that was in front of me. That's what happens when you stop using your memory to see, is you begin to see what's really there. You begin to see, and remember, what you focus on is what you create. So the more you look for the good in people, the more you not only see it, the more you help to foster it, build it, improve it, grow it.
It's awesome. I love that. I just really encourage people to listen to this maybe once or twice and understand what Brian's sharing today, because this is gold and this is really valuable lessons that we can all take away, add a little bit in our life every day, and encourage others around us to be a little more present in what we're doing and focused on what we're doing, and make sure that we have a vision in the future going forward. Brian, I want to make sure that before we leave today and wrap up and go about doing our thing, I want to share a little bit about this idea of maybe tiny habits, or this idea that we could do small steps. We don't have to change the world all in the next hour, although work towards that. We have to make sure that we take measured steps in order to accomplish bigger goals. And sometimes it's overwhelming for a lot of us. So is there some ideas and maybe a sample of some things that we can do incrementally to get to where we need to be?
Absolutely.
To practice this on a regular basis now?
Absolutely. I like to say inch by inch, anything's a cinch. And so, and indeed, overwhelm is having so many things that you want to do and not doing any of them. And the only answer to overwhelm is to do one thing, is take one little step, because suddenly you start to generate momentum. So probably the most important, I call it the secret behind the secret, Russ. If you want to build trust, if you want to deliver kindness, if you want to really help other people to know they're important, the secret behind the secret is to be fully present. Because whenever we're fully present with another human being, which is one of your gifts, Russ, you do it, we're several thousand miles away, but I can feel your presence.
Yeah.
Whenever we're fully present, what do we say to that person? We say to them, you are important.
Yeah.
You matter. You count. I value you. And whenever we're not present, we send the opposite message, like you're worth less. You don't matter. And so how do you work on that? How do you develop that present muscle? The best way I know is for the next 30 days to go on what I call an ETP. It's an energy transformation program.
Okay.
And one of the simple steps, it's just a tiny step, is pick out 2 people in your life, one in your work and one in your home, who for 30 days you commit to be more fully present. Doesn't mean you have to spend more time with them. You may actually, just by life schedule, have less time. But when you're with them, put the cell phone down for a while. If you're sitting at home, shut off the television. Do this magical thing. Ask more than tell, and then listen completely before you formulate your response. You do that for a couple days, they're going to look at you different. They're going to go, you've been working out, you changed your haircut, you looking good, right? And as you become present with that person, what'll happen is it'll elevate that level of connection. I believe that our job, Russ, is to help the people that we lead, serve, love to know they're important. Because when people know they're important, they rise to a, oh yes, spirit.
Yeah.
And when people feel unimportant, not valued, they fall to a, oh no. And the only way we can actually communicate that completely is to be fully present. So the number one little tiny step is to just start with 2. Again, inch by inch, anything's a cinch.
I love that. I love that.
The second little tip I would give in this ETP is to understand that your energy is a choice, and there's 2 keys to energy. 1, change the way you move. Instantly, when you sit up, when you smile, when you add light to your eyes, you can feel your energy rise on a 10-point scale.
Yeah.
It is impossible to feel down when you look up. And we're not wired that way and inside. So if you want to move your relationships, if you want to move your job, if you want to move your health, you must first move yourself. Add light in your eyes. Get a mirror and put it where you can look at that face and see, where is that face on that 10-point energy scale?
Yeah.
And then
it's huge difference.
Absolutely. Huge difference. And then the most important key to energy that we have choice about is to focus on purpose. Whenever we're full of purpose, we're full of energy. Think about it. When you get to do your show, Russ, it doesn't matter how much sleep you had. It doesn't matter if you've been feeling great. You get to do your show. You are 10 years old where you got infinite energy. But when
I'm curious too. I want to find out about what Brian's doing.
That's it. That curiosity, that interest. You can see it in your face and your eyes.
And gratitude as well.
Oh, gratitude is the highest vibrational emotion. So when you're in, it's been measured. So when you're in a state of gratitude, you are at your highest frequency, and negative emotion has no chance against gratitude. Gratitude will overpower it because of the actual electrical frequency.
There's so many times you can be down and just pause. And like you said, be present in the moment and just reflect on all of the things that you're grateful for. And it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to, it can be water in my glass. It can be coffee in my cup. It can be roof over my head or food in my fridge. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be monumental. It just has to be there to be grateful for.
You're exactly right. So ask every morning when you wake up for the next 30 days, ask yourself, what am I truly grateful about?
Yeah.
The word has a secret in it, especially if you're not big on spelling. What you're grateful about has the power, when focused upon, the power to make you grateful. Yeah. What you're grateful about will zero you in on on your priorities. Your priorities are always the pathway leading to purpose.
That's so amazingly true. Kenyatta says, yes, your energy is a choice. It can be generated.
Absolutely, Kenyatta. Awesome. Great name, too.
Donna, Russ, and Brian, this has been such a great message. Thank you for sharing it with us. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
It's our joy.
Energy transformation program. Spend quality time with them. Ask more than tell. Your energy is a choice. Change the way you move. Focus on purpose. Gratitude is the highest vibration emotion. I love this. I love that you're here. And I'm probably Olatunji. How would you pronounce that, Brian? Olatunji. Thank you so much, Olatunji. And Mike Baker, count your blessings. Absolutely. Absolutely. Brian, how do you love people to connect with you and engage with you on a regular basis and reach out to you and say, hey, I'm a pirate. Can I connect?
Awesome. My website is the easiest way to reach me. It gives you a direct line to me. It's just my name, brianbiro.com. And I love to hear from people. I make two promises. I will always reply. All right. And I will always start my reply with joy to you. Because I want you to understand that joy. One of my books is called "It's Time for Joy: How to Become the Happiest Person You Know," and that is really about the fact that we can choose. We can't choose what happens to us, but we can choose our reaction and our response to to how we deal with what happens to us.
Don't you have you have another book out as well? The ROI of it. It's right there. What is it?
Kindness.
The ROI of Kindness. And I love that. And I wanted him to show that book so we could actually engage in a little bit of kindness here. So,
well, thank you.
It's awesome to have you here. And I could talk about this subject all day.
We have to stop. We just got started. Come on, man.
Well, we don't have to stop. We don't have to do much of anything.
We have a choice.
We have a choice. And it's just really amazing opportunity to actually know somebody like Brian, a breakthrough coach. And I'm sure that you help millions of people with your voice and your message and your intent. And I just love the idea that we can actually talk about this subject. And I'm passionate about it, like yourself. And the things that we do in our world touch millions now. This message will be living on. It'll be on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, and podcasts. We're all podcasting.
That's so
Great
awesome.
podcasts are sold. So it's really an opportunity to share the voice with as many people as possible. And I encourage people to listen to the message, play it again, and
awesome.
let it
Russ,
lead your
my
life.
favorite movie of all time is It's a Wonderful Life. And it's that old Christmas movie. But the message is what you just said. The message is that we may touch one person and have no idea how that one little word, that one little kindness, that one little aha that you help them discover for themselves, how far that ripple effect will move, how many people their lives may touch. So when you look at it that way, that everything we do affects so much more than ourselves, then that's when you really understand that kindness has to be proactive. It's easy to be kind to kind people. Where kindness really counts is to be kind when people are not at their best, when people are scared or hurt, to be compassionate when people are unfair.
That's when they need it most.
That's when they need it most. And to become someone who is easy to impress, but really hard to offend. And then you're going to have a great life.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Brian. I really appreciate you, all the gratitude in the world, and wishing you the best in all of your adventures. And if I'm anywhere close to North Carolina, I'm going to dial you up and say, let's go have coffee.
You got a place to stay when you come out here to Asheville, North Carolina. Russ, you're doing great work. Your kindness shines beyond your words through who you are, and just keep up making a difference.
Love it. Love it. And as everybody knows, kindness is cool. Smiles are free. And it's because I want you to enjoy your day. Be safe, be well, be in touch. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate